Welcome to this edition of Culture Wars, the Insurgency, a podcast out of thought to action, presented by Project Sentinel. I'm Chris Cordeni, the media guy at Project Sentinel, and your host for this show. As you know, we have our Merry Band of Insurgents, but first I want to say check us out at projectsentinel.com. With us is our esteemed president, Lieutenant Colonel retired Tony Schaefer. We also have our other cool people here. Sherry Curry back with us, Susan Olson, Jenny Bellstar, Matthias, and Nancy Quattro Glass. And with us for the first time, a co-host of Tony Schaefer's ultra cool show, The Hard Truth with Tony Schaefer, Elizabeth Breckenkamp. Welcome all, and it's time to start another insurgency.
And first off, hold on. We have to greet Sherry Curry. It's Sherry's birthday. Happy birthday, Sherry.
Oh, happy birthday, Sherry. I love you all so much.
See, the thing is, we have like about 4 good singers and 2 non-singers. But I think we should do this, okay? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Sherry.
Happy birthday
to you.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
All right.
I would say, venture to say we won't be in a band together.
It's
I
like
thought someone have a pitch pipe, but oh well.
No, we ought to. Whenever we get together physically, we ought to do a band cover takeoff of the Band on the Run album cover, which I think we all look great in black doing that. So
We'll all wear solid black. Yeah.
Or I would say Fox on the Run. That's another one. But that's a different story. I do want to say, while it's a day of celebration, the music world lost a legend very recently. I want to say rest in peace to the great Shane MacGowan. He was,
I know,
as a
I
fan,
said this morning.
Yeah.
How sad. Fantastic lyricist. And a troubled soul, but, you know, most artists are anyway. So,
many of us are, yes.
Fantastic lyricist, and it's a loss. And he was your age, Sherry. 64.
Sad.
I think 64 is the new 84. You know, we're never, none of us
Depends.
isn't going to last as long as none of us.
Well, they did say on the news this morning that our life expectancy now has gone up to 77. So that means I got another 13.
And
Another
if you
13
pass
years
40,
to go.
Yeah, if you pass 40, it goes up to 86.
Really?
Yeah. So if you made it that
7
far, you're more inclined to live even longer.
That sounds good.
That means I've got 7 years.
I do want to say publicly
If
thank you
Biden
for the great
stays
music.
president, I don't mind if I die.
Me too. And I live in the
If he
UK.
wins the next election, hey, I'll be like,
And Jenny's not even here.
shit.
Sherry, he won't, darling. He won't.
I hope
the
not.
press want him out. He's been even the press want him out because they can't lie for him anymore. There's only so many years you can lie for the guy, and you know, don't even get me started.
Yeah, I've never in my
lie for
entire
somebody.
life seen a man lie like this. I mean, the guy is out of his flipping mind. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's an embarrassment to the world, not just to us. Everybody's embarrassed every single time they have to see this guy speak. It's a joke, and you know, so I can't wait for him to be gone.
Well, let's
Come
put
on,
it this
man.
way.
Turkey dinner has never been cheaper.
Oh, I know. It's
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just last year.
Come on, man.
According to Cringe Jean-Pierre,
Not a
Luc
joke.
Picard, whatever.
Come
I
on,
can't
man,
wait
not a
for
joke.
her to be gone. If I have to see that clown makeup anymore, I'm
Come on,
telling
man.
you, she looks like an
I love
absolute
it.
freak.
You know,
Okay.
I love his new nickname, Roomba. I love that. That's great.
Oh, here's the thing for Joe Biden. At least he was smart enough to send a bigger clown to the COP28 festival. I call it the festival this week because it's a little get together of new ways to fear-monger the world about
That's right.
climate change.
Mhm.
So Tony's favorite guy, John Kerry, is one of our envoys over there.
Also
That's-
known as Old Boltneck.
There you go.
Old Boltneck.
So let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right. Yeah, why the long face, John?
The thing about Joe Perry is
That's
he's
hysterical.
always afraid
Well-
to have a debate with the people that actually know what they're talking about.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, he
No.
seems to avoid that every time. And so if
No, he
someone's
does.
avoiding speaking to proper people about this, then
Right.
they should be out. What's he got to?
So-
What's his credentials of knowing what climate change is about?
Well, let's start with that.
Absolutely nothing.
So let's start with a trick question. Do you all know how many trees there are on planet Earth at this moment?
No.
Anyone want to? There's 3.04 trillion with a T. And so if you
Does that
multiply,
include the extra 3,000 that Gavin Newsom planted for Chi?
Yeah.
And
well,
Biden-
Gavins are special
Oh.
because they're all made of plastic.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. That would
That's
make
right.
sense.
So anyway, but so out of that by the way, that's using Princeton's numbers, using U.S. government data. Each tree on the planet processes 48 pounds of carbon. So if you multiply 48 pounds by 3.04 trillion, we have no CO2 problem at all. As a matter of fact, the last thing you want to actually do is reduce carbon, because then you reduce the ability of something called photosynthesis to happen, which drives everything. So literally, we have a death cult now in charge of climate, trying to convince us to cut off the very things necessary to drive the very foundational processes of plants. Think about that. I mean, it's a science. I've got a degree in environmental studies, and yet what I'm saying is somehow a mystery to old Boltneck and the folks at COP.
I was okay.
Very
I'll
interesting.
confess, I was a commercial pot grower back when it was very illegal. And
good for you.
to get
Yeah.
canisters
No, that's cool.
of CO2. We had canisters of CO2 that we bought
Exactly.
in our grow rooms because they need it so much.
Yes.
And it made them flower more.
Yes.
I think this climate
It's
movement,
plant food.
That guy.
these
Plant
climate
food.
people hate two things. They hate plants and they hate whales because they want to get rid of the carbon dioxide that feeds the plants, and they want to keep setting up these offshore wind turbines that have been killing humpback whales. Well, what kind of lefties are these people? I thought the left was supposed to like these things.
Can I recommend something?
Sure.
There's a documentary called Planet of the Humans.
Oh, I love that with
Yes,
Michael
and
Moore.
it's
You need to
co-produced
see it.
by
You need
Michael
to see it.
Moore.
Now,
Oh,
the premise,
yeah.
his ultimate conclusion is wrong, but the way he gets there is correct. All the facts about the phony baloney stuff. His conclusion, of course, is, well, humans are bad. We should kill them off. But
Well, yeah.
everything before that's good. I'm just
I
saying. I mean,
agree with that,
that's
but
his
yeah.
premise. But
Yeah, I mean, it's like they take you starry-eyed into every green solution and debunk it.
right.
And it's like we haven't come up with anything that's sustainable or practical yet.
Do you know how
Well,
much?
let's keep looking for it, but in the meantime, every solution that they've come up with is worse than fossil fuels, and I believe they absolutely know it. And
do.
their point is destruction.
Mhm.
They want us destroyed. They
No,
hate us.
the point is control.
Yeah.
So,
That's the
Jen,
one.
are you familiar with a guy named Malthus? He was a statistician, Malthusian. So that guy basically back in the late 19th century came up with a scheme using numbers to justify.
It's Methuselah.
No, no,
Methuselah.
no, not Methuselah.
Okay.
No.
That was
This is
Malthus.
the
Malthus.
Economist.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
Malthus is his name. So Malthusian is his principle. So what he did is an economist came up with a scheme using numbers to justify the colonial policies of the British Empire, the very destructive ideas, because humans are bad. His concepts led to eugenics and led to the idea that the British Empire must enslave others to maintain its momentum to grow its population. So what Malthus did, Malthusian politics, he created a reason for a government to have control because theoretically it was going to help protect the people, the British Empire. It was all nonsense, but
Yes.
it was
for the greater good. Yeah, but go on.
It was using numbers to justify all the nonsense. The climate stuff today is a reformulation of that, using Marxism as the founding principle and expanding out. And you want to know something? A circle is square that I think you're all going to like. And we'll talk about. Guess who Klaus Schwab's mentor was? Any guesses?
Oh, I have him. I have it.
You can't say it. You already know, I think.
Oh,
Anybody want to
dead
guess
now.
who Klaus
He's
Schwab?
dead now, right?
Come on, he died today.
Just
Who-
now.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, of course.
Henry.
Of
Yeah,
course.
there you go.
Yeah.
Mind blowing, huh?
Yeah.
You know what? To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I've never really cared for him, and I see everybody coming around and rallying around how what a great guy was, and I've been very afraid of this guy for a long time, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Good reason.
I do.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
know
really?
why, and you know
Okay, I
why.
would hope. I think so. Yeah,
Well,
my
look back at,
instinct's pretty good, but I thought he was an elitist that was behind this whole new world order thing. Am I wrong?
no.
No,
Sure,
you're right.
no,
In fact, he was also a proponent of depopulation.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't care
that's
much
more
for
like
the man. But
So-
rest
It was nice to me.
But rest his soul. Right.
Yeah, I met him. I was at Jim Woolsey's former director of CIA's Jim Woolsey's 75th anniversary birthday party at the Explorer Club, and I actually had to help Dr. Kissinger to his car. As a matter of fact, his guard asked me to watch him while he went and got the car. And several friends of mine said, "Why didn't you just push him down the stairs then?" It's like,
Oh,
I do think
Oh,
about
boy.
that.
Harry would have done poof one
That would've been
time.
interesting. That would've been
oh, you
interesting.
still think about that moment?
I do
like,
think about that moment.
Yeah.
No, I'm not just like, that would have been interesting, wouldn't it?
He
So-
probably would have survived, though.
Well.
You know, he'd be a
But
quadriplegic.
Cherie,
but
to
he would've
Cherie's
survived.
point, no, Cherie, it's all related, and I think this is one of
It
those
is.
things that I've always wondered: how did Klaus Schwab rise so prominently, so rapidly
Yeah.
to global authority?
Yeah.
And how did
Yeah,
the
all of
World Economic Forum get so much power so quickly? It was Dr. Kissinger behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Yeah, but it also had something to do with his father. Was his name Eugene or something? His father was Klaus Schwab's
Oh, his
father.
yeah, but
And,
they're all Germans. Remember, Jen
Eugene
never
was
trust.
friends with Hitler,
Never trusted
and
German.
they were closely together.
Right. Never trust a German with a utopian vision of social order.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep in mind, and if you want to look into what Kissinger really thought of the human population, check out National Security Study Memorandum NSSM 200, I believe it was, Implications of Worldwide Population Growth for U.S. Security and Overseas Interests. The Kissinger Report, if you will.
So we're all chattel, and we're like,
That's
not
right.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a proponent of the World Economic Forum who wants us to eat their bugs and things like that. And COP28 is trying to get us to stop eating beef and, of course, demonizing dairy products.
That's right.
So again, this is what these people are doing. They're trying to scare people out of now having a hamburger.
And they have so many lummoxes that fall for this, that trust these people.
Gwyneth Paltrow and
Well,
who is it, Jennifer Aniston and
No. You
all
can't.
those people.
DiCaprio, I think.
Yeah.
George Clooney.
Yeah, but they're all compromised. Anybody with a brain, or should I say, anybody that's been behind the scenes and looked at this stuff knows that every time they're going to put an agenda out, they wheel out the old celebrities. They wheel out the old, the really famous ones, and then they become the mouthpiece. Look at what's her name? Kidman. Nicole Kidman? She's sitting there eating the bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
Chocolate
Eating the
covered
bugs.
grasshoppers or something.
Yeah, but I don't know
Fine.
if you guys know this, but a lot of things you're buying in the United States, a lot of things that you might buy at the store right now already have the cricket protein in there.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
they use GMOs. I mean, if you go to Canada, just north of the border, Canada doesn't permit use of GMOs in their foods. Yet we do down here, which is
No, they
Oh,
don't.
Yeah.
They don't in England.
That's interesting.
food tastes
Yeah,
different in
my-
Canada.
My son
Well,
Jake,
look at
when
Italy.
he went
It
to
really
the
does.
UK,
Oh,
Jenny,
wow.
It's banned
my
all this stuff.
son Jake went to the UK, and I mean he's allergic to soap. He has a really bad stomach, and he went there, and because he said, "Mom, it's the first time that I can remember where I didn't have any stomach pains, nothing. It's the food here in the US
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
making me
Wow.
sick."
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're the testing ground.
No, Cherry, you're right. Because I
didn't
watched
know
something the other day, and they said exactly what you said. I only watched 2 days ago. I saw it, and I just thought, oh, how interesting that is. And they said
Yeah.
when they go home, it's all about when they've spent time away from America and they've gone to some place in Europe or whatever, their whole body thing changes. And,
Yes.
and it makes them look from afar. You know, when you're in it, you can't see it, but when you're
Right.
away from it,
On my tour that I just came back
Yeah.
from, I mean, I felt I could sleep. I slept great. I didn't have pain in my hips and my.
Where were
And
you?
I thought, wow, this is so
Wow.
strange
Wow.
because I mean, I suffer here in the U.S. with
Where were
joint
you on
pain
tour?
and inflammation, and then I go over there and it all goes away.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No, I
wow.
actually, if you just
Where
look,
was that?
A lot of the things we allow in America, they do not allow in other countries with food.
right.
And
That
GMO,
makes you wonder.
when
Because of the
Obama,
big lobby, I mean, the big food
Yeah.
lobby. I mean,
Obama
we
was-
have everything has processed and then polyunsaturated fats. And
Right.
what was the other thing is they don't use sugar. Like if you go to, like I brought back some candy called Sweet 16, good candy, made of sugar, not of corn syrup.
right.
Right.
They put corn syrup in everything. Corn syrup is like horrible for you. And
Yeah.
you
Or
know,
artificially produced sugars. Yeah.
Yeah. They, when Obama was president, he's the one who passed the GMO, basically the law that you could, the ruling that they didn't have to label that it's not GMO.
yeah. And that's why they can get away with what Susan's saying too, but they can put stuff in the
Yeah,
food
yeah.
they don't have to acknowledge.
That's right. So he took that away, that as a consumer, we won't know because you don't have to say it
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
And that has stuck ever since.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
corruption
that's
for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
A
And
lot of it.
it shows you who he's
Yeah.
in bed with.
Yeah.
Even
Why
if
the
you-
heck would he want to do that? I mean, that's just.
Well, even if you go somewhere like Whole Foods, which, you know, people that are real health minded, that's where they're one of the kinds of stores they're going to choose to shop.
Mm.
Excuse me. They have tons of GMO products there.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you don't know what you're reading, you won't know it.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Because
If
it's
you know
a
what you're
leftist corporation.
That's
Yep.
right.
I don't know.
Oh.
George Carlin put it best. I mean, I'm an American. I expect a little cancer in my water. Let me take a couple of carcinogens right here now, okay? I'm taking a couple of carcinogens.
George Carlin.
He's my very favorite.
Oh,
I
Jesus
adore
Christ.
him.
Yeah, all right.
That guy was way ahead of his time.
I expect
yeah.
a little cancer in my water.
All right.
That's funny.
This is Culture Wars, the Insurgency, and I think the insurgents are starting to win. We've won some major battles. The leftists took major beatings over November. Check this out. I got a nice list. Well, the U.S. Democrats here patted themselves on the back over minor and predictable wins. You know, the Kentucky governorship, et cetera, et cetera. They lost big, but that's not covered in the mainstream media. No. We don't hear a lot about the Charleston mayor. That's the first Republican in what, a century and a half? What was that mean?
Oh, yeah.
Louisiana had a virtual clean sweep of power, that is, definitely.
Yeah.
And I don't talk about that, but those are two major beatings. Then you go into the world scene. We have Argentina, the new president, Javier Milei, started the bloodbath, and now Geert Wilders is running things in Norway.
I love him so much. I
Yeah.
love
Good
him.
guy.
I've been wearing his face on
15 years.
t-shirts.
The white hats, the white-headed people, the good guys are winning, at least for now.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Nah.
You know what? Our version of Evita Peron did not win any
That's right.
presidential elections in
That's
2008 or 2016.
That's right.
That's what I said. Say what you want about
And
Obama.
remember, Chris, the mayor of Dallas switched parties.
That's right. That's another one. Yep.
He
Oh,
did.
yeah. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
But it hasn't been despite what you hear in the media, despite how Karine Jean-Pierre tells everybody that Biden has lowered inflation from peak Bidenflation levels of last year.
Look, I
She's
look.
such a retard.
I'm sorry, Jean-Luc Picard Pierre, whatever her name is.
I love that.
Constantly. I know she looks a bit. She would look like Jean-Luc Picard if she was bald. I'm just saying it's a different story.
Oh, wow.
But she would. I'm telling you. You know. Anyway, but maybe she'd look more like Geordie. I don't know. Anyway, I digress.
The Borg, actually.
The Borg. Well, they are the Borg Democrats. But so look, I took my son to. We decided to try to defect to Canada for Thanksgiving, and they sent us back. But we did have a good time. We went to Montreal and Toronto, and Montreal was great. By the way, I love Montreal. If y'all want to go, it's like France without the French. It was
It's
wonderful. It's wonderful. It was good. It was good. Nobody's French here, right? I hope not. Anyway,
No.
so anyway, we had a great time. And my point
Tony,
I'm
you're
trying
such
to
a
get
child.
to, what?
You're such a child.
We need to have humor, right?
Yes.
Of course.
So, and everybody had good teeth too. That's the other good thing. Just saying. Just
Oh,
saying.
boy.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. So, anyway, but when we went there, the point I'm trying to get to is that the environment was very positive. Canada, Montreal was a beautiful city, and going and doing all this stuff over the holiday seemed to be very positive, and it was fun. And I think that so much of what I learned from being up there is how bad things are back here. And we came back across the border, and then we stopped to get fast food. $22 for 2 burgers, 2 fries, and 2 drinks.
Yeah.
Wow.
That didn't used to be like that. And you can't tell me,
No.
oh, it's coming down. It's like,
Where
it used
did
to
you
be $10.
go? Do you mind me asking? Where'd you go?
So we went through Toronto. We were on the
No,
bridge
no,
of
no.
death.
What restaurant did you go
What
to?
restaurant were you at?
It was Arby's. Went to
Oh,
Arby's.
no.
Arby's.
Yeah, Arby's.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
$22.
Friggin', oh my gosh.
And
Wow.
so this wasn't the only place. I mean, we stopped also at Burger King once, and for two people, it was always going to be at least $20.
Yeah.
And what I find ironic, it's like I have to cut things back. I'm not rich, but we can make do. The very policies which have gotten us here affect the poor and disadvantaged the worst, and yet they're the ones that vote them back in. I don't.
Can I ask you guys a question? I mean, when I see the White House and I see the 30 trees they have, pisses me off.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, are you kidding me? You can't have one tree. You have to have 50 or 30 or however. I mean, now they don't have stockings because of the little girl that I guess, I don't know why they won't have stockings now. So they don't want to have to put her name on a little sock, with some goodies in it. But I think it's over the top, and it feels to me that they're rubbing in our face that
Yes.
we can't, we're having a hard time getting one tree. I mean, when you go to Costco, if you want to get just a imitation tree, they're like $800.
Right.
And so they have 40 trees or 30 trees, whatever they've got in that White House, and many in one room. They've got them all. I'm furious. I think it is so
we bought them.
effed up, man.
We bought them.
Yeah.
I know we did.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, but that's the thing,
that's jealous that these people that they flaunt it. It's so classless.
It is.
It's trite and it's classless and it's humiliating.
It is. I agree. And it's in our face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, think about where Biden was at for Thanksgiving.
I know.
He was on.
But Clarence Thomas can't have a friend that has a little bit of money, though, right?
Right.
I mean, he can literally hang out in on a billionaire's estate, like this $54 million property in Cape Cod, and that's normal. That's not normal.
No.
That's not normal.
They're not hiding it anymore.
No,
It's
they don't hide it.
them attitude. And
That's
so
the biggest thing I've noticed is they don't hide anymore.
service.
Even the WEF, I mean, they used to kind of obscurely put things out there. They are out there. They are the videos that you can see are like they don't care, and that's because they think they have it all wrapped up, no matter what.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at what Harari has said.
Yep, that's
We
right.
replace God.
That's
What say
right.
again?
Well, that's what so
So
much.
wait till you hear the thing that
What did you say, Susan? I'm sorry, I missed that.
yesterday.
Harari. What? What is his first name?
Who?
The Harari. He's Klaus Schwab's.
Oh.
I know who
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Hamilton.
No, it's no.
No. Wrong guy.
Harari is better than God. We
he
have more power.
Yeah.
Yuval Noah Harari. Is that the guy we're looking at?
That's the guy. That's the guy.
I never really remember his name.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't want to accept it. But I mean, the idiocy of these people, they truly believe that they can do things better than nature. And I think it's pretty predictable that when you screw with nature, remember those commercials? it's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
That's right.
That
gets-
Martian
Oh,
terrible
yeah.
anyway.
He's in a twist. And hopefully
Those- yeah.
we'll meet their end before they destroy us.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
So
Can I just say
that's a
something?
great
Can I just
point,
say
Susan.
something
But
in addition?
go ahead, Jan.
Sorry. Just say
No, but
something
yeah,
in addition to that. Yesterday, I couldn't believe. I think it was the day before actually. And there's a guy like that. Whatever you want to call him, Yuri, whatever his face is. Anyway, there was a guy also from the WEF that turned around and it's on record. He's actually in front of the brand and everything, talking about how they are going to, if people won't stop eating meat, they're going to force them to become intolerant by sending out mosquitoes to bite the people. Apparently, okay, but he's saying it's not a joke. The other thing yesterday, and I don't know if this is true, but I would not put it past Klaus Schwab, who's trying to get it that you can marry your dog. You can marry your
Well,
you know, that's the precursor to bestiality. You know it is.
This is
Anyway,
the
I'm just
problem
saying,
with.
I'm sure some men have married.
I'm going to say something and I'm going to get in so much trouble.
Well, let's hear it
I'm
then.
just saying.
Oh
Go ahead, Tony, say it. I want to know.
Yeah, me too.
My head is swimming with all the things I could say to that.
Go ahead.
Well,
My
I
dog
just
costs a lot
I'm
less
just
than my
saying. It's all gone quiet.
Tony's chomping at the bit here. We
no,
gotta-
I'm trying to
Go ahead.
be nice and not get in trouble, get us in trouble, get us
Oh.
demonetized. or
Here's
something.
dinner. Oh God,
So-
I could go on and on.
No, it's like Jen is right. I mean, it's like they're moving everything in such a extreme direction.
Yeah, war.
You could, and so the reason is like this. I hate to bring it back to Kissinger, but I am. Kissinger was a man focused completely on power, on aggregating, maintaining, and using power, because these people don't believe in an afterlife. They find all sorts of other things to take the place of God. Right now, green energy is the god of the left, right? I mean, all the kids, they're all, Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
How dare
this-
you?
How dare you? So it's all like that. So this is what they do. They try to find replacements for spirituality. I mean, many of us here have gone through. Jen and I have had our conversation. Cherie and I have had our conversation. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm coming up on 32 years.
31?
And so, yeah, I'm at 31 going to 32 years.
Mhm.
I look, I can be as wild and crazy as ever, but I do it in such a way that I don't have to worry about waking up naked on some beach somewhere, which may have happened at some point, but that's another story.
Mhm.
But we've all gone through that, and I think we all recognize there's a power greater than us. The left wants us to ignore that, and they constantly find things to fill that space. And if it's not marrying your dogs, it's seeking world domination, and like Bill Clinton. Yeah, I think the whole thing with Epstein, that was all about filling that empty space in a person's soul with horrible, evil things that are, the whole child trafficking thing, the idea of having unmitigated and complete power. It's all about power for these folks. And I think that's why Klaus Schwab and that World Economic Forum is coming up with all these things to help you. Next thing you know, they'll be having gerbil awareness month.
Yeah.
And appreciation day.
The family.
Hey, but Tony, because you brought up being an alcoholic, of course I am as well. When they shut us down for 2 years, do you think they thought about the people that couldn't go to meetings anymore?
Of course.
The fact that they kept the liquor stores open,
Of course.
the
No, I
pot
do
stores, because my son was smoking pot back then. He doesn't anymore, but they were delivering it to my house.
Yeah.
And they would drop off whatever you wanted drug wise. But yet, we couldn't go to an AA meeting. They didn't even, I know they had to think about it. They had to think
Of
all
course.
the people that were going to lose their sobriety over that.
Yeah.
Cherie, they want to tear down any
That's
fabric.
a really good question.
So
Because there's an
basically,
awful lot of people going through that,
right.
Sorry.
Yes.
So basically, I see recovery, and many of the things we talk about is creating a tapestry. There's a great episode of Star Trek called Tapestry. Jean-Luc Picard dies and Q brings him back. But the one thing that episode talks about is how we have all these threads that make up the tapestry of our lives. It gives us richness, experience, and I'd like to believe wisdom. They don't want that. They want you to pretend that none of that exists and just listen to us. Trust. Remember, what was Fauci saying? Trust the science. Trust us. Trust us. They can't be trusted because they see human beings, all of us, as a resource.
No, they set us all up to fail is what they did.
Right.
And they didn't give a shit.
No.
Right.
No, they really didn't. And that's why we're just in such a mess. And I was even saying to Susan a couple of years back, it's like we're having a picnic on the train tracks and we've got the boom box on so loud that we don't hear that train a coming, and it's a coming. And it's here. I mean, there's so many homeless people on the street and they're everywhere now. And these people knew this was going to happen. They absolutely knew it. That not only the homeless that were already there, but the people that were going to lose everything due to these policies. And Newsom, he knew. Absolutely. He knew what he was doing, that people were going to fall off the wagon, that they were, there was so much despair.
Right.
And I mean,
they want despair. And
they do.
I think that the recent attack in Israel has shown us where our little drone heads are.
Those two little redhead babies are dead.
Well, but our
I mean,
college people, the millennials, they are proving, these hard leftists are proving that they always side with evil.
Yeah.
So they're pro-Hamas. And we have the squalid, as I call them, in our own government who are pro-Hamas.
So let's think about that. Think about what that means, because I'm not going to badmouth the people of Palestine. Please don't take my words, but Hamas is what we call in the political science business, that we call it Islamic extremism or political Islam. Now, in political Islam, Sharia, did you know that you have the right to rape your wife anytime you want? Does that sound like an American value?
Yes.
And oh, by the way, if you're a homosexual, and like I've got friends who are homosexuals, we all talk about this. Sharia, I've got several of your homosexual friends who follow me now. We get along great. Rick Grinnell's a friend of mine. Rick's gay. Who cares? That's a death penalty.
Yes.
If you're gay.
That's right.
Yes, but you can bugger a little boy all you want.
Exactly. So this is what it's like. So I'm not for. But I think people need. It's like, if you're going to support something, you better darn sure study what that is, because Hamas is not a good guy organization.
Well, here's where it goes. Here's what the problem is, though. You have a whole generation of young people who have been taught by people who never liked critical thought in the first place and wanted to control the next few generations. So critical thought has been taken out of the schools, and what's been brought in with these CRT, DEI type touchy-feely curricula and indoctrination projects for the teachers as well. So they get hit also. The idea is a lot of people are now trained to see only two sides of an argument when it comes to international conflict: victims and oppressors. So, and the go-to idea is the lighter skin you are, you're the oppressor. The darker skinned you are, you're the victim. So these people in the DEI industry, and that's what I call it, the DEI industry, because they're making all sorts of money off of producing nothing. The idea is that they see the Palestinians as the perennial victims and the Israelis as the white oppressors, 1930 to 1945 notwithstanding. And of course, the last 2,000 plus years.
Well, Susan and I, we became friends basically. Remember, Susan, because you were studying Islam, and I was so interested in it. We're talking back in when Obama had just become president. Yeah, and I was horrified and very afraid. But you taught me a lot. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to defend Islam to my brother, he's a Republican. Of course, he's against it. And found myself going, oh my gosh, this is worse than I ever thought. Yeah. I'm a counter-jihadist, and that's what got me political.
When I was in Afghanistan, I spent time in Kabul and some other places, but Kabul in particular, women had to wear these face masks,
Right.
burqas. Are you guys familiar with burqas?
Of course.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Just the eyes, right?
Yeah, and
Or no eyes.
so-
Yeah.
Oh,
when we would we would go downtown on convoys and we would go have lunch downtown, a place called Chicken Street. Kids would run up and want to be your bodyguards. They want to take you around and show you the good deals, and they get kickbacks, and that's fine. So I always made a point of picking a little girl because I wanted the little girl to benefit, from getting $1. $1 was a lot of money to them. And it was so funny because the old Islamic guys would get upset because, it's not a girl's spot to be doing the boys' work of being a bodyguard. I mean, that's how prevalent this Sharia mindset is. There's no equality in Islam, and it's like,
well, it's very backwards and medieval, and it's
Yeah,
very
it's very sad.
It's like a different world. It's
Yeah.
1,000 years
And yet-
ago
Yes, it
in
is.
present day.
But
So-
think back to not. Oh, I'm sorry. Just only a few years ago, we had a women's march, and
Yeah.
it was led by Linda Sarsour, who was a Sharia
Oh,
advocate,
yeah.
right?
and
Ah.
Gloria Steinem.
Yeah.
I had
Right.
a conversation with her, which was actually very nice. But I said that is the zenith of stupidity.
Yeah.
I thought the zenith of stupidity was all these people putting Linda Sarsour on their profile pictures on their social media accounts.
Didn't Gloria Steinem burn all her bras like back in the 80s or something?
Yeah,
Nobody
I mean,
wanted to see that.
I told her for that first wave was great, but second wave, you lost me. And she and I had a very interesting conversation in the Brady Bunch backyard. And like her people came to rescue her. And God love her. She told them to shush. She was having a conversation, and I'll always admire her because she knew we were on polar opposite ends, but she still wanted to talk.
That's good.
That was nice.
Dialogue's important. And by the way,
By the way, I'm wearing my pin.
Oh, you're
Which one is it?
What is it? No, I can't see it, Jerry. Do you put
Yeah,
it
you
in the
went
middle
over
of
to
it?
the-
oh, there I
It's
see
my
it.
Jewish pin.
Oh, cool.
okay.
If you allow me
Yeah.
to
And by-
stop Jewish hate, they send you this cool pin, and I've been it's kind of a bi-weekly thing that I'm donating. I'm
cool.
so appalled,
Right.
and about
Yeah.
those little kids last night, those little redheads. Of course, my son's a redhead. To hear that the mother and those two babies had been killed.
I don't necessarily
because-
believe that.
You
Sheree,
don't?
they've announced people being dead and then coming up being so.
Okay.
Be patient because
I
there
hope
was
so.
another hostage. who
Yeah,
was-
yeah. No, I
announced
agree.
dead.
I agree.
That
But-
broke me.
right.
It just broke
Yeah,
me.
so just
Well-
keep them in your prayers. So
Okay.
it's not over yet. But
Right.
but a personal a announcement, a public service announcement for anyone who wants to burn their underwear or bras. I'm open to it. You can show up at the house. Or I'll help you.
There we go.
No, except for you, Chris. Everybody,
No,
you're
yeah.
all.
Okay, I'll keep my bra. That's fine.
So, Tony, I got to ask you, when were you in Afghanistan? What years were you there?
I was twice. I was there in 2003 and in 2004 for two tours.
Okay. I'm curious because I wanted to share my story when I was in Kuwait. I was in Kuwait 2006 to 2007, and I'm just kind of comparing, it's modern day. It wasn't that long ago. when I was also in the Army and I was in Kuwait, I was at Camp Arif John. And every time we went off post, we had to change into civilian clothes. And so Sergeant Buckley and I were driving in civilian clothes so we could kind of blend in. Of course, he's Milwaukee, I'm blonde, so we can only blend in so much. But we're driving along on an actual paved road. Most of where we were deserts, but we're driving along and no joke, talking about how Muslims treat the women. Drive like we'd be at a stop sign or a red light, look over, and there's a guy driving a cattle truck. And the guy, of course, is driving. In the back, there are camels or sheep. And in the back with the animals are the women. I kid you not. And of course, they're all wrapped up. And these are the adult women. Now, the younger girls, it's kind of like they kind of like gradually, I guess, build up to wearing the full thing. But the full cover, but the little girls were allowed to wear like jeans and shirts, but they still had to wear like a head cover and they still had to cover their faces. But Yeah, looking over, and there's camels, sheep, and the women are in the back riding with the animals. It's and that was 2007.
Because the animals are more useful than the women.
Exactly.
Exactly.
In their view.
Unbelievable.
Well, you could
So
grill
they-
them afterwards. You can't grill the women. So I guess that's a different story. So
I guess that's true, Chris.
right.
I did find out that I'm worth
Yes.
I found out also that I'm worth 10 cases of vodka and 2 goats because a little Kuwaiti guy tried to trade me for goats and vodka to be his wife. That was funny. Sergeant Buckley was able to translate a little bit. We kind of drove away and we're laughing. It's like, wow. Because he liked my blonde hair and so she's American. Yes, I'm not going to be your wife. That was crazy.
I'll throw in another goat and a case of Jack. How about that?
Oh, well, that's nice. I guess I could be your wife, but I have to see if Bob was willing to share me.
All right. Another thing on this, I brought this up during Tony's radio show, The Hard Truth with Tony Schaefer.
I know that guy.
It's a good show. I brought it up to Tony and Elizabeth. I want to throw it to you, nice ladies out here. All right. We're talking about the what happened with Hamas and their rampage against Israeli citizens. Think about this. These institutions of higher education are yapping on about how Israel is going on killing the oppressed victims in Gaza. The UN, Biden, and the EU morons also seem to think, many have come out and said that Israel should just give back Gaza after defeating Hamas and bring forth a new Palestinian Authority. To me, this is like it's like they think Netanyahu should be required to say, "All right, well, we're all done. Here's the land back, and let another terror organization take over and regroup here." However, as an added bonus, let's give you the West Bank too. I mean, do they expect him to do that seriously?
And besides, that's been tried. And I love this whole, how our youth is the occupation. There isn't a single Jew in Gaza.
There's no occupation.
That's a good point. There aren't. Yeah.
So one of the notable things on this, when you think about it, Susan, and I'm fascinated by it. There's no Palestinian people. There are Arabs who settled there after World War I. I really do recommend people go back and watch. It's a great movie, by the way, just on its own. Lawrence of Arabia. It talks about the double dealing of the British. If you want to blame anybody, blame the British. No offense, Jen. Just saying. I'm just
no, I'm with you on that.
So it was.
We're not blaming you.
And all they double promised the land. They promised to the Israelis. They promised to the Jews. They promised to the Palestinians, and that's why we have the mess we have now. But it's just insane.
But there never was a Palestine, and it was especially created to create victimhood. Because notice nobody gets absorbed into Jordan or Egypt.
No, they don't want them
because that would
Jordan kick them out.
I really don't understand why we have a right to say anything, because you know what? If we were attacked like that, where these people just came out of nowhere and started chopping,
I've said this, Cherie. I've said this. You're right.
I mean, people, a lot of these university kids that are standing with Palestine, they would be some of the first to go.
Exactly.
And have their heads lopped off. And how would they feel then? And I think we need to stay out of it. I think we should support them.
Yeah.
But shut
I agree.
up.
Right.
It's insane.
Think about
that's only going to cause trouble here.
I think you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Cherie, think about this.
We can't even take care of our own people.
Right.
We should stay out of it. I mean, we're destroying their ability to be able to get these people, these very, very bad people.
Right.
And shame on us.
Well, think about this, Cherie, that all the protests we've seen in America have been pro-Hamas. Not a single protest to say, get our American hostages back. Not a one.
Right.
And no Palestinians against Hamas. Because if you really do care about the Palestinian people, they would be much better off with Hamas gone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course.
Right.
But isn't it like 85% of the Palestinians back Hamas? So, to be honest,
I think that's
stay the hell out of it and let Israel do what they have every right to do. And I don't know. When I see these people here in Los Angeles and all over the U.S. standing up and sitting and blocking highways and pouring blood all over this and saying that we're not gonna leave until you have a ceasefire. It's who do they think they are? First of all,
Yeah.
Just
I
because
say-
they're
I say-
American, you
I
And
say
they're
guys-
ship
so
them all-
uneducated.
I say ship them all off to Gaza, and they
I
can do the
agree.
same thing
Oh,
there.
yeah.
How about that?
Do a
I
GoFundMe.
agree.
Go fight. Go
I
fight.
want to see a pride parade in Gaza.
Ah,
Oh,
That'd be
there you go.
there'd be some headlopping going on then
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what, you guys? I need to go. I'm so very sorry.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
I got to go soon too.
all.
Yes, we all have to go.
And,
Well, Cherie, thank you for
Aw.
being here.
Thank you very much. Happy,
Happy
birthday,
birthday.
by the way.
Thank you so
birthday,
much. I love
Terry.
you. Love you. Love you. Mwah, mwah. And I'll see you guys soon.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Cherie. And I have
Bye.
one more name for the rest of you before we sign off. Tony has a hit coming up very soon as well. So let's go. The name. This name. Remember this name. It's going to be a big one. Holden Armenta.
Okay.
He is the young child at the at a Kansas City Chiefs game that some
Oh, yeah.
idiot from Deadspin.
Oh,
And
yeah.
get this. This guy's name, by the way, is Karen. Okay, so that's a little typical now, isn't it? He used a deceptive photo of a kid wearing red and black, his colors, only used the black side, and said this kid was wearing blackface and the NFL should do something about
Oh,
this.
yes.
It's a
Yeah.
child, by the way, who wore
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
own
yeah,
colors.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
They want to ruin you, and
Yeah.
even if you're a child,
That's right.
they
Yeah.
want to destroy people.
They will
Mhm.
use
Mhm.
anything. They don't care. There's no boundaries. They don't care.
Yeah.
They have no moral compass at all.
None. Zero.
Yeah, but the worst thing about all of this is we're just as complicit because none of us are jumping from the rooftops and shouting out about it. Yeah,
I
we do
agree.
a show like this, but everyone needs to do this. Everyone needs to shout from the rooftops because
Right.
look at all these things. Like Tony was saying something earlier on, and you were saying something, Susan, about they're throwing all this stuff at us. You know what? They're throwing all this stuff at us to
Because
see how we respond, how we
Yeah.
react. And if we
Right.
don't react, they think it's okay. That gives them the green light.
You're right.
There's no
They have January 6th as a model to say this is what happens if you so much as dare to stand up.
Well,
Yeah,
even,
yeah, yeah.
even
American
better.
should be terrified.
Well, even better. The same reporter, this Karen, that's his name again. He decided to double down on the whole thing and said, "Well, red and white is worse because that shows us hatred for Native Americans." Well, that's where he got hurt because his kid and his grandfather and his parents, they're card carrying Native Americans.
Yeah. I couldn't.
I
Yeah,
know.
Oh.
This shows the
That's
ignorance
amazing.
of the far left.
yeah.
Oh,
It's the thing. It's like, so one of the things I was fascinated by is the change of name of the team Redskins, the Washington Redskins.
Oh, yeah.
Most tribes and Indians I've spoken to saw that as a source of pride, that
Yes.
the fact that Native
Yeah.
Americans were fierce fighters and Redskins was not derisive. It was like noting the fact that they were a warrior race.
It was honorable.
It was
Yeah.
honorable.
Yeah.
And yet somehow, and it's like Aunt Jemima. Do you know that Aunt Jemima was a real person? Who,
Yeah, that's right. She was.
Now she's been erased from history by the left.
Yeah.
And Uncle Ben too.
Uncle Ben's. Yeah. Yeah. It's
These
now
were-
just Ben's.
These were African American success stories
That's right.
that
Yeah.
were so successful they became icons in American culture.
Right.
And that's
Icons.
why they're hated.
But the
by-
left doesn't know that. It
No,
just
they
shows
knew
their
it. No,
ignorance.
they knew it.
You know that.
Elizabeth. They
They're
knew it.
so ignorant. You're right.
are very racist.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at ivermectin.
Yeah.
That's for livestock. Well, it saved
Right.
thousands of black lives in Africa.
So
Yeah.
I remember the 80s and Jen, I'm gonna embarrass you here because I remember your song Eco for Rain Man. Ico. I can see I can't even pronounce it. So I went to high school in Lisbon, Portugal, and I had British friends, Nigerian friends. We were colorblind, and I loved the direction of society back then. We all were it was all about dancing, disco, and having a good time. Late 70s, early 80s, the music you guys did with the Bell Stars, Nancy, the stuff you were doing, Cherie's stuff. It was all like, we just all, the 80s were great, by the way. I mean, the 80s, bring back the 80s. I'm just saying. I mean, except for the nuclear weapons, bring back the 80s. Because everybody really was trying to get along and work together and explore. And by the way, no offense to the new generation. what the hell happened to music? Jen, your music's great. I mean, like this new stuff is unlistenable. I mean, it's all like auto-tuned, for God's
It's
sake.
the digital age. Yeah.
Oh, my
Music
goodness.
now is absolute shit.
Oh,
Yeah, I agree.
I feel
There's no
sorry.
melody, there's no soul.
yeah, right.
It's like a form of it's just electronic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with electronic music, but you have to mix it with organic. If it's not organic, then you've got no soul. It's like taking God out of the music.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, what you guys did, Talk, Depeche Mode, you guys all infused soul into this new technology. It was spectacular.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Chris, I'm going off tangent here a bit, but
No, all good. All
it's
good.
part of culture, because the culture of the 80s and the fabric of music and art was so different than now. And I think it's so much of what you do to preserve it, Jen, and others have worked to preserve it is something to really look at, because
And the 70s is what actually started
Yes.
off.
70s started.
That's
off-
right,
Yeah,
Matt.
I was in high school in the 70s.
That's my era, and I'm telling you right now, the 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
that there isn't a musician that I talk to that's a young kid that doesn't say that's their biggest inspiration, is that era.
Yeah.
If they know about it.
Yeah.
Because the kids today,
No, you're
I
right.
for my teenage students, they don't have bands.
No,
They don't know what it's like to go to a concert and go to school the next day going, I've
Yeah.
just
yeah, no.
My
right.
first,
This
when
is
I
what
was
I
in high
get.
school, my first concert I went to was Supertramp, and I will never forget that
Oh, I
concert.
love Supertramp.
Oh
Mine
my
was
God,
Led
they were
Zeppelin.
fabulous.
Yours
Crime
is
of the
Led Zeppelin,
Century.
right?
Oh my God, they did like a video. This is before music videos. They did a video to Crime of the Century live in Estoril in Lisbon, and it was like, holy cow! What happened to
Mine
groups
was
like that?
Mine was In Excess, and the openers were Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers. These are two polar opposite bands, and they seem to work out perfectly.
Mine was Jimi Hendrix.
Ah, wow.
That must be great.
Mine was
Unreal. From the minute
My very first concert was Sean Cassidy.
I like Sean.
Sounds a
All
nice
right,
guy, I'm sure.
Sean. I like Sean Cassidy. All right, he was cool.
Yeah.
Him and Leif Garrett.
Well, I think
Yeah.
mine
then I was turned off to music.
was the 70s thing, Nancy, the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah, but that's the Led Zeppelins, the Jimi Hendrix, the
Yeah.
I mean, and Motown. I can't take out Motown because
Oh, I love Motown. Oh,
can't be
yeah.
right, and there was no genre thing.
You know what we need to do?
You
We need
could
to- we need-
go,
we-
you could go and see Led Zeppelin, $5. Led Zeppelin with BB King, and it's like this is insane. There's no genre difference. It's just music.
You know what we need to do? We need to do a full-on culture wars about music.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
We talked to the council
Absolutely.
at home. You could do an
we'll
extra
do-
hour on that one if you like.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could do that on the lounge too. Maybe do a two-parter.
Two-parter
However,
would be great.
what we do need to unfortunately come to a close here.
Because
and,
it's the politics of dancing, right, Chris?
That's right. Because hey, it's the opposite. Now we're DJs who became politicians. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Although nobody would ever elect me to anything. Although, I mean, I'll tell you what, this Javier Milei has gotten me back into the idea of running for something. So, who knows?
So actually, strangely enough, I am announcing my candidacy this evening at a meeting here in town. I'm going.
Oh,
to,
yay.
You guys are getting the early scoop on it. I've been asked to run for county commissioner here in Shawan County, North Carolina. So
Cool.
I'm throwing my hat in the ring.
Well, I was told I'd never get elected dog catcher, but I think those things bite anyway. So who wants it? All right. Congratulations.
I was
by the way.
going to go for hall monitor, but they don't have one. I was hoping for that job.
Huh.
The school narc. There we go. Okay. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you very much for this recent edition of Culture Wars. This is our 10th, by the way, and we're looking forward to the 11th
Oh,
next month. And we're going to bring more people into the fray next year. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That's right. But next one on music, Chris, cultural, the music, the politics of dancing. That should be our theme next time.
All right.
So I like it. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And don't forget, all of us at Project Sentinel, check us out on projectsentinel.com. That's right, projectsentinel.com. And Tony's radio show is The Hard Truth with Tony Schaefer. You can find that in the America Out Loud Talk Radio Network. That's a lot of fun, too.
And you're all invited to join me.
That's right.
Susan, Nancy,
Okay.
Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with
Thank
us
you.
and stay informed. or at least try.